Hugo arranged Eric's return from Canada to work as an English interpreter with a Canadian accent for United Press at the Olympic Games held in Berlin in 1936, with the understanding that Eric would not remain in Germany, concerned that he would end up in the German army or considered to be a Jew. Hugo also encouraged Thea to leave Germany as well, because of her Jewish heritage. By this time, brides and grooms were presented with a free, specially engraved cover of Mein Kampf. Thea and Eric then left for South Africa on the 18th of August 1936, travelling via Genoa, and stayed in Port Elizabeth with Dora, Robin, by now married to Donald Forsyth, with a son Jolyon, born 30th December 1929. During their stay with Robin, Donald Forsyth died 18th September 1936, the second of Robin's husbands to die, both being in the hotelier business. In January 1937, they moved to Johannesburg. Meanwhile in Berlin, Hugo married Margie Seeger, 23rd March 1937. She was Thea's best friend and moved to 3 Berliner Straße, Pankow. Hein's mother, Maria Wiederhold, who single-handedly brought him up, died in 1937. Inga and Hein had a son, Jörg-Detlef, 3rd of January 1938, continuing to enter the RLC book, but with less detail. Since 1933, escalating thereafter, the German government pressurized the Jews to migrate by economical and physical coercions. The German government had since 1933 tried to encourage countries beyond Europe to accept Jews, but without much success. In fact, in 1939, 900 Jewish refugees sailed across the Atlantic, were refused entry to the US, Canada and Cuba. The German government also wanted rid of gypsies, peoples with disabilities, Slavic tribes, particularly Poles, communists, socialists, and Jehovah's Witnesses and homosexuals. By 1938, all Jews had to carry identity cards, marked with a J, at all times. It now became dangerous to associate with Jews, although prior to 1933 they had been socially integrated. Inga, never being close to any Jewish community structures, and Hein had many friends, some in the same boat. In November 1938, the German government stood by while mobs destroyed 267 synagogues and desecrated Jewish businesses, schools, hospitals and homes, known as Kristallnacht, Crystal Night. Immediately thereafter, 30,000 Jews were placed in concentration camps for their own protection. Some released. They applied for immigration without success, as other countries were not prepared to accept them. The German government had another target in that it wanted to reclaim Danzig. Poland was undermining Danzig's trade and had a military base in Danzig, while the city itself was not permitted to have a military presence. Hein and Inga, with the children Jutta and Jorg, enjoyed Kreuznacher Straße and parks around Berlin, and would each year go on holidays to the mountains in the winter where they could ski. Kipsdorf, German part of the Riesengebirge, where Jutta still remembers the name of the deer, Bambi, and the holiday sea resort in the summer, where they could swim in the rather cold water, Zoppot, until the onset of World War II. While on their summer holiday in Zoppot, just north of Danzig in September 1939, they witnessed, unbeknown to them at the time, the start of World War II. Shells from a German naval ship were fired on that Polish military base. They could see what was happening. Germany's military moved into the corridor and Danzig. Britain, having an agreement with Poland, and France declared war on Germany. This was the official start of the Second World War. Germany, together with Russia, decimated Poland and its surrounds, taking back territories that they'd held prior to World War I, but neither honored their agreement, resulting in Germany, with the Axis alliance, invading Russia in 1941. Russia then joined forces with the Western Allies. Germany had started with military presence retaking territories on the Rhine Valley and in Czechoslovakia that they had lost in World War I. All hands on deck all over the world. Yet Hein, as he explained to Jost many years later, being an engineer and with a Danzig Free State citizenship, was assigned to one of many research programs on the production of fuel, using wood in this case, as Germany had limited access to oil as compared with the Allies. He, as he explained to Bernard, also designed jigs for aeroplane components. Inga now had a further issue to contend with. Besides having quarter Jewish blood, she held a British passport. This was now hidden, which did not help her mental stress. Her physical condition had also deteriorated. Back in South Africa, Thea stayed on the corner of Trist and Goldreich Streets in Hillbrow, running a corsetry business. Eric moved to Nigel, working at Marievale Mine, and volunteered for the South African Army in September 1939, as soon as the Second World War broke out. He married Nancy Halkett Allen on the 7th of June 1940. Margaret Clare was born the 6th of March 1941. In 1940, Eric was mobilized for the Technical Services Corps of the South African Army, and was part of the transport that travelled overland to North Africa to fight against the Germans and the Italians. He was nearly captured in the Battle of Sidi Zegre, and later was assigned to guard one of Rommel's commanders. See Allen's family story for very interesting details related to Eric. Inga's cousin, Pip Theodore, joined the British Royal Air Force, RAF,